So in this segment, we're going to be talking about Robert Jenrick essentially eviscerating the Conservative Party over their legacy regarding the courts. And this is hilarious because, again, you guys were literally in charge, about 7-8 months ago. I think it's about 8-9 months ago. And now suddenly this has become a concern for you. It's crazy business.
I'm here outside the Central Criminal Court in London, the beating heart of our legal system, where some of the most serious cases get heard. And yet today, 11 courtrooms are empty. That's nearly half of all the courts behind me. Nothing is happening. And it's the same across the country. In Carlisle, 67% of courtrooms today empty. And this isn't unusual. In Bristol, 40% of all the courtrooms, on average, every week, are empty. This has become a massive, massive problem. So this is the party that reduced the amount of sitting days for judges, which means that there are less judges that are actively dealing with cases. So a load of those rooms being empty would potentially be down to that. They've also closed down a load of courts as well, so you'd have less courts in general. So this is a massive problem. He's correct. But again, who are the people who caused this? Today there's a backlog of 73,000 court cases. Rape trials are being listed as far off as 2027, and the backlog is rising.
So, this is the party where some cases of, our charges and things like that, victims had to wait around 4 years for their day in court. And so I don't hear any outrage about that, right? And so he's talking about 2027. That's about 2 years away versus the 4 years some people had to wait in this country. So again, are you mad now suddenly? Where have you been all this time?
By 500 cases every month. I'm sure you'll be watching this, head in your hands, asking how on earth did we end up in this situation? No,
I can see the reason why. I'm looking at the guy right now, or one of the main perpetrators of it. I can see it now. Can the audience? Can you tell me? Can you see him? Can you comment the person who has done this?
Well, the other day, the most senior official at the Ministry of Justice came to Parliament and said that it was mainly because of the pandemic. There's also been industrial action, and there are more police officers on our streets.
That's interesting because we had massive issues. We had huge backlogs from before 2017, so it wasn't the pandemic that caused this. You're talking about more police officers on the streets. That's fine. You want to talk about the fact that you guys didn't increase sitting days for judges? I don't. This is stupid.
So more serious crimes are coming to court. William Gladstone once said that justice delayed is justice denied, and that's a saying that couldn't be more relevant today. The backlog is having a catastrophic impact on the lives of victims.
Then the court date finally came. I thought, this is it. Finally, I get it over with, and then I can try to heal from the trauma, thinking that I can finally heal properly instead of dragging it all back time and time again. I spent weeks having panic attacks and not sleeping. I wasn't eating. My whole life was falling apart again. But I was prepared to tell my side to the court so I could finally be heard. Then it got postponed again. I was told I had to wait a year.
And that is the reality for a lot of people, that their court hearings were delayed. And they were people who told to delay therapy in order to wait until after the court dates. I can't remember the exact reasoning for that, but I think there was a legitimate reason for telling people to delay therapy. But those were people who were told to wait over a year or more in order to get it through court effectively. And so the person who was speaking there is an act of reconstruction, but the person whose actual story that was down to the Conservative Party.
Tragic stories like this are only too common, as James from the Criminal Bar Association told me.
The longer it goes on, the less evidence there is, the less people recollect what happened on that night, the less witnesses who saw them together. It goes down and down and down. And so, of course, being able to come into court quickly is very important. It is incredibly frustrating when you're having to tell victims, if you're the prosecution, or your defendant, if you're defending, oh, sorry, we're going to come back in 2027, 2028. Trying to deal with that when you know that we have people who are here, are available, we've got judges, we've got barristers, we've got courtrooms. We need to bring all that together.
In the immediate term, what is the single most important thing that the government could do right now to fix this situation or get us into a better place?
As a single first point, get that cap off, get judges into court, get barristers into court, and get prosecuting and defending on these cases.
So yeah, they could change the rules around how many days the judge can sit, open the courts for longer, and maybe do just trials that last, not trials, but courts that open for longer. You know, I don't know what time courts normally close, but have them running to about like 9-10 p.m. if possible, things like that.
And it's not only the victims who are suffering. The court backlog has created another major problem. The number of people on remand, those are the people who are in prison but awaiting trial or sentence, has ballooned. It now accounts for 20% of everyone in our jails, or 17,600 people. If we can get the court backlog down, we can also relieve pressure on our prisons.
See, this is where GB News are idiots, right? Because if this was anyone else, if you had an actual journalist do this would be an actual insightful video. Obviously, they wouldn't blame the Conservative Party for what's happened, which, you know, because GB News, isn't it? But this is actually an insightful piece talking about how we can actually resolve some of the issues around this. The problem is, the messenger is part of the problem. You know, we're acting like Jenrick had no agency in this, like his party had no agency in what happened over the last few years, like they're not the ones who broke the system.
So the question that matters now is, how are we going to fix this? Well, the most senior judge in the country, the Lady Chief Justice, has said that courts like this could be sitting for 4,000 extra days every year, but the government refuse to use them. All the while, they can't even say when the courts will be operating properly again.
My man, you can't set a building on fire and then be mad the firefighters didn't turn up quick enough. This is on you, G. I just, you know, the gala, I don't know the exact word of it, the audacity of this man right here is astonishing. This is the party that set the courts and the prison systems on fire, and then are going to turn around and blame Labour for it. And I don't have a lot of sympathy for the Labour Party. People know this. But, you know, the audacity of this man right now to turn around and try and blame the government for this is crazy, and use a victim story to kind of say, well, you know, Labour could resolve this issue when you guys are the ones that caused it. And I think Labour should pour resources into this, because there is a cost here, a massive societal cost to this as well, in not dealing with this. And this is a fundamental area they should be putting money into, and changing the amount of days judges can sit and the availability of courts in order to really push through some of these court cases, in order to get victims actual justice. This is one of the bare you know, things you expect of a society to be able to do, of a country to be able to do. But, you know, in this country, we don't have it, which is a shame. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.